Hey guys, welcome out to the shop. You guys know I buy a lot of old rusty junk. Not all of it is actually junk. Here is a hand plane that I recently picked up off of eBay. I actually thought I was only going to be getting this one round plane by Sandusky. It looks like it's roughly ½ inch or so for the radius. But whenever I opened up the box, it also had this ton making plane, and which is super cool. It's always nice to get a surprise. The other day, also in a box that arrived, I got a box of 5 hand planes, and this little saw came in the box, which was super cool. Need to clean it up, need to sharpen up the teeth a little bit. Some of them look a little bit flat, but it's pretty neat. No make or anything on this, but that's besides the point. So I buy a lot of hand planes, and they usually come in fairly used condition, I guess you would say. But this Sandusky set, this is also a Sandusky. It is a number, I guess, a 66, either a 66 or a 99, but it's a ½ inch. And I've already popped out the wedge, and I went to go take a look at the iron, and the iron is very dingy and grimy. So we need to get this cleaned up, and then I'm going to go over my super simple, easy, and very super cheap sharpening setup that I currently use, and it works well for me. I've been using it for probably the past 4 years, and I have absolutely no problems with it. So let's go ahead and jump in. Alright guys, so usually my first go-to method if I need something quick is just throwing it onto a wire wheel here, and it will knock off all the rust and stuff like that. Occasionally I will go ahead and throw it in like Evaporust just to keep it, I don't know, say you don't throw it on the wire wheel. I don't see any issues with this. I don't see any marks afterwards. So I'll show you guys real quick. So as you can see, this still didn't get it very clean. It did knock off a lot of the chunky rust that was down there and a lot of the debris that was still on the iron. I could always just throw this in the sandblaster as well because I use glass beads so it doesn't damage it at all. But I don't have another method that I also try to use is Scotch-Brite, and that works out quite well. But I have none on hand right now. So I ended up finding some steel wool and cleaned it up a little bit better. So now we're back over at the bench, and as you can see, I have a very super simple setup for sharpening items. Everybody talks about how they have to have like granite or glass plate or something like that, but I've been using this for about 4 years now, and I've never ran into an issue. All it is an F-style clamp and a piece of little bit of plywood. And on this side, I've got like a 180 grit, and this is kind of worn out right now. And on the back side, I got 220 and a 600 grit sandpaper, and pretty much just clamp it down and start like a normal process. I've tried using like sharpening stones and stuff like that, and they all work good after you get the initial setup. So if I wanted to go higher than 600, this would be, or that would be a good time to do it. So what I'm going to end up doing right now is just flattening the back, because that's always your first step. So I'm going to go up here a little bit and just work the iron, and it feels like it's fairly flat already. There's no pitting or anything like that. So as you can see, it's pretty much flat already. I have one spot right here, one spot right here, but the important part right here on the front edge is already cleaned up. And now you guys can see that the front edge is rusty. So we're gonna go ahead and do a couple of laps with those. So the way that I do my actual cutting edge is you don't want to accidentally make a double bevel. So I always rock it, and then I find where I need it to be. So you don't want to have it here, you don't want to have it like up on the toe or the tip too much. So I kind of rock it, and then I keep my arms locked in a position and actually use just my hips and my body to pull everything backwards. So it's a little bit leaning on the front of it, but we're gonna keep on rocking it and try to get rid of all that rust on the very tip. All right, so I've gotten this all completely flattened out, and even now I can feel like a burr on the back side of the iron from where it's created the clean spot, or where it's sharpened it up. So we're gonna go ahead and take this board and just flip it over so that I have the 200 grit or whatever grit. So it's like 200. I can't even remember exactly what it is. But we're gonna go ahead and do the back side again. So you can see it's nice and shiny. And one of the key aspects that I have found with doing sharpening is that you always sharpen to the best possible, I guess, sharpness with whatever grit you have. So you don't want to stop too early and still have a little bit of rougher edge, because even though you can go on to the next grit, it won't be very helpful. So what I'm going to do now, because we're all shiny, is put on some Sharpie on the iron, and then I'll take a few passes, and then whenever the Sharpie is gone, we should be good to go. And it also helps tell me if my bevel is correct. So all the Sharpie is gone, as you guys can see, so that's good. So we're going to give it a few more passes, and then we're going to do the exact same thing as we move up to the 600 grit. Got your 600 grit right here, and we're just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. We're going to start with the back side. We're just going to clean this up real quick. This is a fresh piece of 600 grit sandpaper. It is much shinier now, and so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just do a couple passes real quick, and then we'll put on the marker. You guys can see how clean that is. We'll give it a few more passes. That's very nice, and I have a little bit of a burr on the back, and we're just going to take that off. It's nice and shiny. So now you can see that I have this contraption right here I made quite a while ago. I actually made a video for it. Just took a cheap piece of leather from Hobby Lobby, screwed it on there, or bolted it on, and then I have some polishing compound, and I'm just going to work it in there real quick on this piece. And that's it. It's not about building up how much compound you have. It's about how hard or how good you get it into the leather to really clean it up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, like always, we're gonna start with the back side. Alright guys, so I don't have any paper with me today, but we'll just go ahead and do the shave test. And as you can see, I've been kind of doing a few irons, but it shaves as it should. And look at that, it cleans up a nice little pass. So the next thing to do is go ahead and throw it into the actual hand plane, and we'll make some shavings out of wood. Alright, so I have absolutely no plans for this piece of lumber, so we're going to try to make a few shavings on it. I haven't even checked the grain or anything like that, but I think I'm going the wrong way. So let me flip this around real quick. Alright, so now we should be back in action. And maybe I'm just taking a heavy cut. Let me back this out a little bit. Whoop. You gotta be careful with the irons when they're sharp. Alright, let's see if it cuts a little bit. But the nice thing about this is that it does have its own depth stop. So that is the Sandusky plane all sharpened up. I showed you guys how cheap my method of sharpening was, and it works fantastic. Look at the shavings, they're great. Have no issues. I've sharpened up Stanley number 6s that way, round planes, I mean all sorts of different chisels, things like that, and I've never had an issue with it. Don't have to have that granite or anything like that. It's just a cheap piece of plywood. Just make sure it's flat. I don't know about you guys, but I love hand planes. But thanks guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys found something interesting about the way that I sharpen my irons and stuff. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and also leave a comment. And if you guys are new, welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys on the next video.